Okay, good evening. Yesterday covered lesson 4 from the textbook, but unfortunately, I didn't record the audio. Right, something was wrong with my recording software. It was not picking up my microphone, so you have a video with no sound. Um, but I did save the example assignment 3. I'll probably upload this, but I'm gonna do a new example of assignment 3 just so cause I already gave you an assignment yesterday. I don't want to give you another one today, so I'll just do a second example of it. Um, but we will cover a new lesson, which is I think lesson 4. Yeah. So if you go into class resources, lesson files, download lesson 4.zip. So again, click on it, click the 3 buttons, open in a new window, then download. Okay, I don't know how big that one is. Okay, it's not too big. Downloaded pretty quick. So here's lesson 3, just to remind you. Since I'm not gonna redo lesson 3. Wait, that's assignment 3. Here's lesson 3. Maybe I'll just like give you a quick summary of what it was about. But if you wanna go through the whole lesson, remember classroom in the book, CS6. It's InDesign classroom in a book, CS6. If you wanna follow along. It has a step-by-step, so you could download the lesson files from Google Classroom, so from the class resources, and then you can just find the PDF online. I forgot which one was a good one. Looks like I clicked these 3, probably this one. Maybe this one. That's always the last one. Okay.
David, do you mean to share screen?
Oh, I'm not sharing, sorry. Oops.
That's cool.
Okay, so
Okay.
the PDF should be available online, pretty easy to find. This one is from pearsonmg.com. But yeah, the whole textbook is here. And if you want to make up that lesson, it's lesson 3, I believe. After this one, so let's scroll down. Wait a minute. Is this just the first chapter? No, it's gotta be the whole book, I think. Maybe not. I think this was just like a summary. I guess they don't have the whole book. It's just a chapter. Uh-oh. 2, getting to know InDesign, index. No, I guess this one doesn't have the whole textbook. Yep, okay, never mind. Um, I'm sure you could find it somewhere. Well, I have a copy on my computer. Uh, Maybe I could share that with you somehow. So here's what the actual whole thing looks like. Um, Adobe Classroom in a book. Yeah, here I've got the whole thing. So I don't know if you can click on the index and jump to the page. We have to just scroll to it. It looks like we could click here. So what we're looking at is lesson 3, setting up a document and working with pages. So here, just to summarize, this is the end file. So if you open O3 end, you should see that, except I might have changed the fonts here, but everything else is the same. So basically you're trying to get to this from this file, and there's a lot that I covered, specifically the master pages. So a master page again is just it's a page that you can use as a template for all your other pages. So whatever you put on the master page will be on any page that's created um, with that master applied to it. So you can apply master just by dragging the master page to any regular page, and it will apply whatever you've drawn on here. Any text boxes, images, uh, they'll all be on whatever page that you create out of the master page, and that way you could like have a template. I also covered automatic page numberings in here. So there's a special character. There's a lot of special characters. We'll look at more special characters in today's lesson, but sometimes you want to add page numbers, but you don't want to manually put page 1, 2, 3 by yourself. So what you do is you insert a special character, marker, current page number. You could also even do a next page number, previous page number. That would make more sense with like a magazine, or a newspaper where your article is continued on another page. That's where you would put the next page number, and it would know which page to take you to. I believe there should be another lesson that has an example of that, but here you can see it says 2. When I move it out here, it says pasteboard, PB. If I move it down here, it says 4, because now we're on page 4. Anyway, so it's a special character that changes depending on what page you are. So again, you could right click and insert special character in a text box. Insert special character, marker, current page number. You could also go to type, insert special character, marker, current page number. There's also a shortcut for it, which is Control Alt Shift plus N on Windows. Probably different on a Mac, but Control Shift Alt N places that special character for you. I don't know. I might redo the lesson and re-upload it, but not tonight because I have to cover a new lesson. I don't want everyone to go through the same lesson again. But if you guys have any questions about this lesson, let me know. I could review some of it. So the new lesson that we're going to cover is this one. It's lesson 4. Let me go to the start of this. Pretty long lesson. And I'm gonna avoid using the textbook because if I look at the textbook and we follow the steps like one by one, it's gonna be really boring and take forever, and you're probably not gonna learn as much. That's something you gotta do on your own time, like follow step by step. Instead, I'll just look at the beginning file, the end file, and I might use the textbook as reference, but we'll try to get to that without actually using the textbook. Um, so download lesson 4 right now off Google Classroom. Give you guys a couple minutes to download that. Need to double check. Yes, I'm recording audio this time. Good. So let me pause this. You guys download this and then I'll continue in like a minute. Okay, I'm gonna assume you guys downloaded it. If not, whatever, just follow along. Um, I'm gonna extract the files after downloading it. And so lesson 4 should have, um, you could ignore this .ts store thing, but you have your start file, your end file, and your links folder, which contains all of the links that will be in this lesson. So this lesson um, has a lot of information about links. We'll be looking at updating links and modifying links. So I'm gonna I'll start with the start file. Look at what this looks like. Alright, so when we open this, it's gonna ask if you want to update your links. It says this document contains links to sources that have been missing or modified. You can update the modified links now or update later. So it says 0 missing links. We're not really missing anything, but 11 links were modified. So if I don't update the links, we'll see the unmodified version of them as soon as it opens up. I don't know why it's taking so long. Uh-oh. Okay, I think it froze. Okay, never mind. It just took forever. Alright, so it says I'm also missing some fonts. Alright, for the fonts, um, it's not giving me the option to use Adobe fonts to enable this. I guess it's not an Adobe font. It just says missing. I could replace it. If I don't replace it, it's gonna probably show up highlighted in pink. So let me skip it so we can see if that's the case. Oh yeah, there it is. So there's the font that's missing. It's supposed to be on this right here, CSS Masterclass. Since I don't have the font, it highlights it in pink. So I can say type find and replace Myriad Pro semi-bold italic. So for some reason we have all the other Myriad Pros, but there's no semi-bold italic. So I'll select it and just replace it with whatever we have available. So I only have regular from Myriad Pro. Let's see what else we have. Myriad. Myriad Pro. Oh, we do have something here. So we don't have semi-bold italic, but we do have condensed italic and bold condensed italic. I'll just do that one. And click find first, and then it finds it and highlights it. So it highlighted this same text that I showed you earlier in CSS Masterclass. And I could just click change. So click done. It just changed it to whatever I replaced the font with. So now it's using Myriad Pro bold condensed italic instead of semi-bold condensed, which I was missing. Okay. Alright, so you might need to replace it. I recommend just like whenever you open it, just to get through it quicker. Not this lesson, but lesson 4. Um, so whenever that window pops up about the missing font, I don't know why it's taking forever again. I think it's because I'm using like an older InDesign file in a way newer InDesign, so it's like trying to convert everything and update it. So, or my computer needs a restart or something. But yeah, so I'll just do a replace fonts right in the beginning, so I don't have to do a find and replace. So just do a replace fonts, select that, change it to Myriad Pro, uh, bold condensed italic, or just bold italic. Um, if you don't have Myriad Pro bold italic, just choose another font. It's not really important for this lesson. Just replace it with something. Okay. So change all, done. All right. So now look at the links panel. You'll see there's if you didn't click update links, you'll see a bunch of yellow triangles here telling me that these links have been modified. So there should be 11 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I guess there's should be 11 because I think when I launched it said 11, or maybe it was 9. But anyways, these are also gonna have little triangles, yellow triangle with the exclamation. Um, right here you see one, or right here you see one. Also over here. Anyway, so that tells me, like here too, you can see that these links have been modified outside of InDesign, and that means like maybe they're linked to a here, like for example, this is an Adobe Illustrator file, a.ai. So after it was placed in this InDesign document, someone went and modified the original file. So this isn't the updated version. If I double click, we should get the updated version. Wait, that wasn't the icon. This one. Doesn't look any different though. But let's see this one. This icon here was also modified. Looks the same. Sometimes even if you don't really change anything, you just open the file, save it, close it. It might think it's modified, so I think that's what's going on here. But these aren't actually changing unless maybe I need to go to high quality display. Another one, the Photoshop icon also, double click that, gets updated, shows it in high quality. This one, just click on the little 4 here to take us to it. This has been modified, double click, click this one. So this has also been modified, double click to update. And finally, which one is this one? Oh, it's this thing here. So instead of one by one clicking update link, you could just, in the beginning, when it asks you, just say update links. Right, no difference. Okay, so that's the setup or the start file. So just open the start file, update the links, replace any fonts that might be missing. Then let's open the end file to compare it. End file is going to be missing and have modified links. I'm just going to say update. We just want to see the final version of this, so update it. And again, it takes forever to load this. I'll give it a second. Okay, so again, missing that semi-bold italic. I'll replace it with Myriad Pro bold italic. Find and change. Done. Okay, and let's check it out. So this is what it's gonna look like at the end. So we're gonna go from this. Let me click W or press W on the keyboard. Switch to preview mode. So we're gonna go from this. We're gonna need to add. Well, let's look at all the differences here. I'm gonna click View and Screen Mode Preview. Let's change the size to fit spread in window.
Or can you go to window and vertical split?
Yeah, I could also do that. Put them side by side, and then View Fit Spread in window. Alright, so comparing them, we see that there's a logo here that we need to add. The text here has to be aligned to the center of this. Um, Control Alt 0. Try to remember that shortcut. Okay, so the yield sign goes from red to yellow. That's gonna have to be updated. We're gonna obviously add these pictures here that are missing. We're gonna modify this text here to be in 3 columns. These pictures are also gonna have little captions down at the bottom, which we'll add automatically. We're not gonna actually type in Robin Cruz or Emily Mills. That's gonna come in automatically based on the metadata from the photo. Um, I don't think we do anything on the next. Actually, we do add a couple icons, the stop sign, and then this thing. We'll use the content collector because there's 2 of these. We'll use the content collector to make a copy. Also the yield sign. That one will have to go down here. Oh, it already. Oh yeah. Oh, this is the start file. So yeah, we'll have to take care of that. What else? Oh, and some missing text here and there. We'll add that in. Let's start by. So just make sure you've updated your links and replaced any missing fonts first. And then the first thing we'll do, I think, is make this text appear that's missing. So there's a bunch of text here that's missing. If I try to click anywhere, I can't. Actually, I can. It was just this one. In the end file, everything is locked. This one is fine. Um, Let me switch back to workspace, or not workspace, but arrange, consolidate all windows. So it's just one window. And look at this one here. You're gonna see that little red plus sign. So text is missing. So we need to double click that bottom to extend it so the text is not missing. And also if you look at the end file, it's got a little slant to it. So in order to get that slant, we'll have to modify the shape of this box here. Right, but we could use the direct selection tool to grab that bottom right corner and pull it up. But I don't know if they added an extra point. I need to unlock the layer so I could actually check. So I'm going to go to my layers and just unlock this text layer here. Yeah, I think that is all they did. So they just clicked the corner, dragged it up, and then dragged the other corner down. So you could click this corner with the direct selection tool. Remember that lets you like select pieces of an object, so corners, vector points like this one, and then I could drag the other one down. And just make sure you're not cutting off any of the text. So make sure there's plenty of space so that red plus sign goes away. It's kind of annoying to use. Make sure you click exactly on that point. I think there should be a way to make these little handles a little bit bigger. They're really tiny right now. So, I mean, if you can't really see too well, you're gonna have a hard time clicking that little point. Let me see if we can make that better. If we go to edit preferences, um, let's see, general interface, user interface scaling. I think it should be in there. Right, so you could just go to any edit preferences, just click on any of these, and then switch to user interface scaling. And let's see, UI sizing, user interface sizing. We could increase that, make it larger. And then the anchor points, that's the actual little point that I'm trying to click on. Make that bigger too. Let's see how much bigger it'll get. Oh, but it says changes will take effect next time you start InDesign. Alright, so I'm gonna make it, let's say, I'll make the UI sizing, I'll make that medium, but I'll make the anchor points all the way large. And then I'm gonna click OK, but I'm gonna have to restart InDesign, so the changes take effect. I'll click later. Let me first save. Yeah, I'll just save over what I have. Oh, actually, not the end file. The end file can stay how it was. The start file that we're working on, this one I'll save it. Actually, it already took effect. Everything's bigger already. I guess the rest of it, but the anchor points did get bigger, so now I could see these more clearly. Easier to click on and drag them, so maybe I won't restart. But everything's nice and big now, so you guys can see better. Um, Alright, so that takes care of that. Let me open that end file again. Update modified links. Hopefully it doesn't take forever again. Yeah, it's gonna take forever each time. So while that's loading, let me look here if anything's gonna have to be changed. Um, we're gonna have to make that red yield sign yellow and add a white border around this. Oh, now it's coming up that I can activate it. Okay, might as well activate it then. I don't know why I wasn't finding it before. The semi-bold italic. Skip. Okay. Alright, so yeah, like I said, let's make some of these things. Actually, before we start messing with the graphics, if you look at the end file layers panel, you'll notice there's a graphics layer, a text layer, and a background layer. So we only have two of these layers, graphic and text right now. But in the end file, there's a background layer. Let me see what's on the background layer. Click the eye on it, it'll hide whatever's on the background layer. I don't think anything's on the background layer. Let's hide the other two. Um, yeah, not sure why they have a background layer because it's empty. Anyways, we won't create a background layer since there's nothing on it. Let me just bring these back. But for the one that we're working with, you gotta make sure all the graphics are on the graphics layer and all the text is on the text layer. If I just turn on the text layer, you'll notice it's not just text on the text layer. The yield sign is on here, it should not be. So we need to move this to the graphics layer. So select it. The obvious way to move something from one layer to another is to cut it out and then select the layer you're trying to move it to. Make sure that layer is enabled, and then paste in place. That moved it from the text layer to the graphics layer. But there's a quicker, easier way to do it, which is um, select the object. So click on it to select it. You'll notice the bounding box will be the color of the layer icon. So whatever this color is, it's going to be that color. So right now it's on the text layer, so it's blue on the outside. So quickest way to move it from the text layer to the graphics layer is to grab the little box on the right side of the layer panel, drag it up to the layer you want it to go to. Okay, so now it's got a red bounding box, so you know this is on the graphics layer. Now let's look at just the graphics layer. This should just be graphics, and it is, so we don't need to move any text anywhere, I don't think. And then no more graphics here to move, except maybe this little icon. This should be on the graphics layer as well. So just drag that up there. Now it's on the graphics layer. Alright, okay, so now to change this to yellow, um, let's double check. I don't know if we could change it here because this is, I think it's a linked in the it's a Adobe Illustrator file. So if you look at the links panel when you select this, you'll notice it gets highlighted here. It's yield.ai. So there's actually an Adobe Illustrator file inside the links folder. It says yield, and then there's yield new.ai. Um, so we're not actually gonna open up Illustrator just in case you don't have Illustrator. We're not actually gonna open Illustrator and change the color to yellow. Instead, we're gonna update the link to use the second yield file. So there's not here. Go back to the lesson 4 folder. In the links folder, you'll see yield new. So there's yield.ai, yield new.ai. One of them, yield, should be the red one, I think. Yield new should be the yellow one. I'm opening up Illustrator right now so we could double check. You don't have to, I'm just showing you. Again, activate fonts. Alright, so there's the red one and then there's the yellow one. Yield, yield new. So there's two different yield signs. We'll replace yield with yield new. So I'm just gonna close this. So the way you do it is you right click on the link and you say relink. Relink, then navigate to the lesson 4 folder and use yield new and say open. Right, so you'll get a little message. The file yield new has different layers than the imported version. New layers would come in with the source file's layer visibility settings. Um, that's fine. I'll just say okay. But what is it saying exactly? Um, so the two files had different layers settings, like different layer visibilities, yield and yield new, in the Illustrator file. So it's just saying they're different. And then this is gonna use the source file's layer visibility settings instead of the imported version. So, but when I click OK, it looks fine. So I guess that's not a problem. I think it looks the way it's supposed to look. Yeah, nothing different about it, so no issue there. Um, and then this one here, we'll get to this one later. I need to reference the book for this because that one we're gonna use the content collector, I think. Pick it up, drop it somewhere down here. Forgot exactly how they want to style it. Let's move on to this thing here. So it says arrive smart, leave smarter, and then there's a website. If you look here in the end file, it's nice and centered in the box. It's not at the top. Also, the text here has a little bit of space here, and then this one is aligned to the right side. But let's look at that first. So how do you align something to the left but also to the right? You can't really do that because it's in the same paragraph. You can't have two paragraphs next to each other unless you have like two columns or something, but that's just overcomplicating things. Instead, if you have a single line, but you want to align part of it to the left side and part of it to the right side, like this we can't. It's, the whole thing's either left aligned, centered, or right aligned. But what you need to do is left align it first, and then you need to drop in a special character here. So I want to move this to the right side. So the way you do it is by inserting another special character. So insert, no, it's not a special character, I guess. It's called a break character. Um, and actually maybe this one's not under break. It is under special character. It's under other, and you'll see right indent tab. That will push it to the right side. Now all that's left is centering it and stuff. But let me pause for a second because I just realized I haven't really paused since we started. Any questions so far? If not, let me give you like a couple minutes to catch up if you need to, if you're trying to follow along. And while you're doing that, I'll just review what I did. We updated the yield sign. So instead of using yield.ai, I right clicked, relinked it to yield new.ai. And then we also modified this thing here. So instead of a regular rectangle, I used the direct selection tool to drag this corner up. Oops, this corner. Drag that up and then drag the other corner down. So we have a slant here. Um, Also, we moved a few things from one layer to another. The yield sign went from the text layer to the graphics layer. You do that by dragging this little blue box. That's how you move things from one layer to another. I also went into my preferences and made the um, little uh, places that you can grab, like these little squares, made those bigger by going to edit preferences. And then under user interface settings, I scaled it up. I'm gonna actually make this a little bit smaller. I feel like it's too big. And gonna click OK. Um, Click later. And again, while you guys are catching up, I guess I'll save this start file. I'll call it O4A objects.InDesign and save it. And the end file, I guess whatever, I'll save that and close it. I'm hoping by saving it, it'll take less time to load up next time I open it. So I'm gonna restart InDesign just because I want to see if my user interface icons get bigger. Yeah, it looks like stuff got bigger, so that's good. Let's open O4 end. Update. Okay, yeah, it's loading up quicker since I saved it. Let's also open the file we're working on. Alright, I'm gonna continue now. So um, here I've used a special character here. If I turn on type, show hidden characters, oh, and also switch back to preview mode, you'll see the little icon here. This is the icon for the right indent character. So I put this special character in here that pushes this text to the right. So just one more time, if I delete that, it's insert special character, other, right indent tab. You could also press shift tab, it'll add that character. Uh, the other thing we need to do is center this and add a little bit of space on the left side and on the right side. So to add space, we need to add, go to object, text frame options. We need to add inset spacing to the left side and the right side. For the top and the bottom, if you want this to be centered, you could select the box, and then if you have your InDesign full screen, you should see this button here. It says align center. That will bring it to the middle. By default, it's going to be align top. But if you don't have this here, maybe your window's smaller or it's just not there for whatever reason, you can find it under object text frame options. So it's here, align center. So top, center, bottom, leave it on center, and add some inset spacing on the left and the right. That means we don't want all settings the same, so unlink that, and then click up on this. Let's see how far we need to move it. I think 3p is good on the left side, and then for the right side, let's go back to object text frame options, and let's increase that. Probably another 3p. Actually, this one 3p6, I think, or 3p9, just to line it up with that purple guideline. Okay, and then press W to go back to preview mode, and yeah, I think that's what they have in the end file. Oh, I actually moved the trademark, so the trademark should be on the right side too. So that means, or sorry, it needs to be on the left side. So the trademark has to come before the special character. So let's delete that special character and add it after the trademark. Special character, other, right tab. Alright, again, if I go to preview mode, that's the little special character icon. We used object text frame options, center, align center for vertical justification, and we added some left and right side indents for inset spacing. All right, next let's change that globe. So this globe in the end file has this white stroke around it. Let me unlock the layer in the end file so I could get a better look. It looks like it's 5 points white. So just add a 5 point white outline around it. So select it and click up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make that, oops, not the background, the stroke. Make it white. Let me put these side by side again. So I'm trying to focus on this right side page here. See what else we need to update. I'm not seeing anything else except for the evolve logo. Needs to go up there. Also, I don't know why it's not letting me zoom in. Barely. Okay, so go back to arrange, consolidate all windows. We need to bring that evolve logo here. Right now, we have one version here. I don't know if that's the one we're supposed to use up there or if we should import it. But if you go to, let's check the lesson folder. So these are the photos of the people. We'll use those later. There's the InDesign icon, I think. Logo paths. I think this is what we need here. Logo paths. Yeah. If you drop that in there, that's the actual logo that they're using here. Let's go to view display performance high quality so we can see it better. But you just need to drop that up there. So you could either drag and drop it, or you could do a file place. File place, go to lesson 4, links, and then logo paths.ai. And I just drop it in here. How big should it be? Well, if you just click, I think it comes in exactly what size you need it to be. But you can always modify the size. It's a AI file, so make it as big as you want. It will still look good. And just line it up with the arrive smart text. I think that's it for this right side page. Also, let's look at this with the guides. Yeah, just fit it inside the guidelines. That's how big it should be. Actually, in the end file, I see. So it should fit maybe a little bit bigger. If you want it exact, it goes from that corner the height is going to be from that to that, so there's guidelines there. Just go into preview mode or a normal view to see the guidelines and just fit it in there. Okay, so next let's make some copies of these icons because they need to go to this bottom green page. If you look at the end file, actually there's a couple things we need to do here. One, we need to cut this green box. As you can see on the end file, there's a big rectangle cut out of it. We could do that in two different ways. So if you want to modify this to make it look like this L shape, what you could do is with the pen tool, you can click add anchor point tool, add a point here and a point here somewhere, and then grab that top right corner and then move it down, right? And then I guess move this all the way to here, drag this one to here, and drag this one down here to make that L shape. The guidelines are there, just drag those points to the guidelines to create the L shape. Well, actually, needs to go to this upper guideline. um, why isn't the shortcut working? Control Shift 0. Oh, it's Control Alt 0. Okay, so I added the L shape. So let me show you the second way to do it. So that's one way to do it. Add the points with the pen tool and then, drag. So you need a point here and here. Well, you could just put the points right on the guidelines in the beginning. You could just say one point here, another point here. I don't know if I clicked on the exact point, but then drag this here after you add the 2 points. So that's one way to do it. Doesn't take too long. Another way to do it is to draw another rectangle on top of that green rectangle, or yeah, just draw this on top of it. Let me change the color so you could see. So I put this on top of this one, and if you're familiar with the Pathfinder tool, you'll know what I'm about to do. Select the two shapes and open up the Pathfinder um, object, Pathfinder. We could do subtract, and it'll just cut out the big shape or the top shape from the bottom shape. I think there's also a Pathfinder panel. Yeah, so if you go to um, window, object, and layout Pathfinder, you should see this window here. You select the two icons or two shapes, and then click on, I think this one, subtract. It'll cut it out. So that works with any shape. I could draw like a polygon on top of this. Let me reverse the fill and stroke. So I could draw this here and then click this one and an object, pathfinder, subtract, and it cuts out that shape from this shape. Anyways, use either method, whichever one you prefer. Try both, just so you get the hang of it. So the other way was to just add a point here and here, and grab that corner with the direct selection tool and drag it here. I'll give you a minute to do that, and then I'll pause the recording. Alright, let me know if you need more time, but I think I'm gonna continue. So, Control Alt 0. See what else. Okay, so we need to bring that yield sign here, stop sign here, and then this thing here. Um, the yield sign, we'll grab that first. So the yield sign, I'm not just gonna make a copy of it. You could just make sure I'm on the start file. You could just select it with your selection tool. Hold the Alt button to make a copy. Drag it down. Place it here. But let's do it the way we're supposed to according to the book, which is by using the content collector tool. Actually, just to make my point, like why we're doing it, I'm gonna right click and relink this yield sign and put it back to the old one. So it's back to the old yield sign. Um, Now if we just copy it and put it here, I'll do the text wrap after. We're gonna have to wrap the text around it obviously, but just to make my point, we select it here, go to links, um, and we right click on this and relink it, put it to a new one. Okay, actually, yeah, so when I do that, the other one stays the same as the old one. This one updated, this one did not. So now I have like two yield signs. There's a link to the yield new, yield old, but if I do it a different way, actually before I do it another way, let me try one more thing. What if I drag the copy down here? And by the way, if you notice, I keep pressing Control Z because like I actually move like the yield sign inside the box. Yeah, just make sure you're grabbing it from the outside. You grab it in the middle, you're gonna move it inside the box. It's gonna be annoying. So undo and then just grab it from the outside. But anyways, if I put it here, this time I'm instead of right clicking this yield under, like if you open the little drop down, I could click on one of these. But what if I just click this one here and say relink all instances? I could just do that. That will relink all of them, right? But anyway, the point is, in the textbook, I think they want us to use the content collector for this. Not sure. I know they want us to use it for this one. This one, let's use it for both. I'm gonna open up the content collector. So to use the content collector, it's in your tools panel. We have the content collector, content placer. Click the collector, and let's click on this to collect it. And then I guess we're still on the content collector, so let's might as well collect this thing too. So click the yield sign and the globe, and let's drop them here. So I'm gonna use the content placer now. Make sure you click create link, right? And then let's drop this one here, and this one I think goes, just drop it on the side. Right, we'll place it wherever it needs to go later. But if we do it this way, um, same thing, I could click on this, right click, relink, yield new, and then this one we get this little yellow thing here saying something's been changed. Modified link, I'll double click to update that too. And then for the globe, say we decide to change this to have, I don't know, a red outline. We look at this one, it'll tell us that it's been modified. You just double click it and it changes to the updated version. I think I showed you this example when I was going over all the tools, what the content collector is for. That's what it's for. It's just making links to things that you copy. So if you modify one, any copies of it will also change. So that's gonna go right there next to CSS master class. And then this one, we'll put it right here in the middle of this, but we want the text to wrap around it. As you can see here, the text wraps around this box. So to enable text wrap, we also make sure this is centered. In case you actually moved it, just click the center icon, center content. You could also, if you don't see this, go to object, fitting, center content. Center it inside its box. So this needs to turn on text wrap. You could quickly turn it on from right here in the control panel. Just click wrap around bounding box. You could also go to window, text wrap. Under window text wrap, you should see the same options. Click this one to wrap around the bounding box. You could also wrap around the shape of the object, the triangle itself. If if it's a vector object like this, you could do that. Click this button here. Subject aware wrapping. Anyways, I guess new version will be able to wrap around even JPEGs and PNGs. But I'm just gonna click OK. So this time it's wrapping around the actual triangle, but I don't think we need to do that for this. If I move it here, you can kind of see better. Oops. So it's actually wrapping around the triangle, not the box. But if we click this one, it wraps around the box. I think they have it wrapping around the box on this one, so I'll just leave it on that. They also have a little bit of space or margin around it, so that's where you need to open text wrap panel, because there's these buttons here: offset top, bottom, left, and right. You can offset all around. I think it's should be 1p. Yeah, bring it up to 1p. That's just giving it a little bit of gap around the shape. And I'll just Control Alt 0, Control Alt 0. Actually, let's do view fit page in window, which is just Control 0. Control 0. Well, not this page, but the other one. I'm just gonna put these side by side so I can see exactly where I need to move this. Looks like it needs to go up a little. Or sorry, that's the end file. This one needs to come down a little. There we go. We have a stop sign here. I don't see any stop signs here. So the stop sign we're gonna have to import. So again, I'm on my working file. Don't do anything on the end file. Just use that as a reference. So here I'm gonna say file, place, grab the stop sign. And then drop the stop sign here on the right side. And I'm gonna do something a little extra the book doesn't do here. So the book has us bring in the stop sign image, but the stop sign image is a JPEG. It has this white background on it. So what you could do is instead of just dropping it in like this, well, there's a couple ways we can, like if you want to get rid of this white background, right? This is what I'm talking about. If we want to get rid of the white background, let me go back to normal view. Just like we modified this L shape for this thing, we could add a bunch of new points to this, like point here, and a point here. I don't know how many we need to add exactly, but I'm just gonna add one for all the corners. Um, and then remove a couple of the corners. So I'll use the anchor delete point to delete this one, this one, this one, and this one. Showing the long way to do this. Just move the corners here to make that shape. But I'm sure you guys can already guess probably a better way to do this. That's like the manual way to do it. A better way probably is to just, let's delete that. Actually, let me save it there. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides. So it's an 8-sided polygon. So you could grab the polygon tool and then just click here and choose 8 sides and then click OK. That gives you an 8-sided, actually. Make sure it has the same width and height. Let's just gonna put 10 by 10. 8 sides. Alright, so now we have an 8-sided polygon. I'll just shrink it down a little bit, holding Control and Shift to scale it. And we could just take this. I could actually take the image here and say cut. And then select this and say paste into. And then we can actually shrink it down if we need to inside the shape. Oops, actually make that bigger. Just scale that to fit better. Get rid of the outline. I don't think it needs it. None. Alright, so that's one way to do it. But stop sign is such a simple shape, such a simple icon that you should just draw one yourself. You shouldn't have to find a picture of a stop sign and bring it in like we're doing here. Now you're right, we don't need this stop sign dot tiff. You could always just draw your own octagon, fill it with red or whatever red color you want. I'll just go with that one. And then you could just type the word stop inside, right? Make that stop whatever font color you want. Let's make it white. All caps. And then we can center it with object, text frame options, vertical justification center, and text align center. And then increase the font size to however big you want that to be, and then um, make it bold, maybe bold condensed. Anyways, you can make your own stop sign. It's not something you should get a picture of, I think. So stop sign goes here, stop wasting time. Also, in case you feel like it's not like really centered, like when you make it too big, it's gonna probably not be centered, right? But and now it's pretty centered. But in case it's not centered, you could always go to object text frame options and then adjust it a little bit by adding inset spacing. Except I think when it's not a a rectangle, doesn't seem to let you do left, right, bottom. It just gives you one option. So maybe you can't really adjust it. Definitely want to adjust the color though. I feel like there's more purple than red. So I'll go to well, let's double click the fill. Let's make that more red. Yep, that's more like it. There you go. It looks just like the end file. Oh, the font looks a little bit different, but I guess moving that yield sign a tiny bit might shift around the text a little. Doesn't have to be exactly the same, but just anyways, okay, that's done. Let's not waste time on that. Actually, it's break time. So, any questions so far? I think the last thing we need to do, let me just double check what's missing. Control Alt 0, Control Alt 0. We still need to, yeah, we need to move this to the middle, change the colors of the letters. We need to move these icons here next to here. Um, what else? Well, on this page, we still need to add these photos. So here we'll use the gap tool a little bit, and then that's it. We'll have to add the text here too, but not much left here. Let's take a break and then we'll finish that after the break. So we'll take a break, come back, and we'll finish the rest of this. That's all I was saying.
Already.
All right. All right. So next thing we're gonna do is add these photos here. Um, so there's 6 photos, and there's a quick way to bring all of them together. We don't have to bring them one by one. If you remember, when you're drawing any shape, like a rectangle, for example, if you press up on your keyboard and right on your keyboard, you could split this into rows and columns. Right, you could do the same with images that you're importing. So you could do it with text boxes too. You could have a bunch of equal sized text boxes if you want. But in this case, we're gonna bring in a bunch of photos. So if you look inside the lesson 4 links folder, there's a bunch of TIFF images labeled 1 through 6. Now you could just select them like this and then drag them in, right? And then it's gonna show the first one in the list here, but there's a little 6 on top of the icon. Now if I click and drag, you can see if I just do this, it'll just bring in the first one and then the second, third, fourth. But if I, before putting the first one, if I do this and then I press up and right, we have 6 photos, so make 6 boxes like this. Then it could bring all 6 of them together. But let's make sure we drop them in the right spot. I think there should be guidelines for this. So yeah, so we should fit it within these 3 columns. So when we're dropping it in, oops, click and drag from this corner to here, but press up and right. Up 1 time, right 2 times to make the 6 boxes, and then I think should be good there. Let me do that one more time, make sure I get it right on the line. Up, 1, 2. Alright, next we're gonna make sure that they fill the box. And in order to do that, remember you could click on fill frame proportionally and fill up the box like that. Right? We also want to put their names below the photo, or at least a little caption that says photo by, and then um, whoever took the photo. So to get the photo by, we need to go to we need to add captions. I mean, you could manually add a caption. You could always draw a text box here and then type in photo by and then put whatever you want right there. Oops. Grab the type tool, make a box. Maybe that's too small. Why? It's not letting me. Did it let me add it? No. Looks like I didn't really add a text box. Here, let's do it here. You can do photo by. Yeah, I guess the text was really small. That's why it wasn't fitting there. But you could, always do it this way manually. But let's do it a better way. So, If you go to your links panel, I think we need to select all of these photos at the same time, right click and go to captions, and then do a caption setup. Right, so if you go to, again, links panel, right click, captions, caption setup, you could say text before, we could say we wanted to say photo by. And then what do we want to come after photo by? We could use metadata, name, status page. So the metadata is the information that's already saved in the photo. Most of the time when you have a photo, you take a photo, it's gonna have metadata. So if like any of these TIFFs or JPEGs, if you right click on them and look at the properties, and then you click on details, you'll see that sometimes they have a title. This one does not have a title, subject, rating, tags, comments, and origin, authors, focus photos, date taken. So we have the date, we have the author, we have the program name, the image dimensions, the path and everything. So that's metadata. All of this is metadata. So we can use some of that metadata. In this case, they want us to use the author. So we could say metadata and look for author. Author. Just saw it. Where did it go?
Go up.
Do you see it? I don't see it.
Yeah. You pass it a couple of times, man.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Text after, we don't want any text after. We just want photo by and then the author. Alignment below image. So we could choose where we want it, like above the image, below the image. We have an offset, like how far away from the image do you want it to be. I'll just leave it as whatever this is, caption setup, and then click OK. It's not going to be there yet. Next, you have to go to, again, captions, but this time generate either live or static captions. Um, I forget what the difference was. I'm going to choose static though. I think live captions will update if I change them or something. I forget. But let's do static captions. And there you go. Oh, we need to change the font size for these captions. Now, if we go back to caption setup, there's a paragraph style that we can apply to them. If you look at the paragraph styles that are available right now, there's probably one for captions. Um, caption one. Oh no, photo credit. Probably use that one. Click OK. Oh, I might have to generate them again. Oh, this time, now I have two of them. I have to delete the old one. So undo. Um, Make sure when you do the caption setup, you choose the paragraph style. Should be photo credit. If you don't have a paragraph style, I mean, this file came with it, but normally it's not going to be there. So you would probably set up a paragraph style for what you want your captions to look like. Change the font size and font and everything. In this case, someone already did it for us. If you look here, there's a regular paragraph, but if we change it, here we got all these different paragraph styles. And one of them is that photo credit. So it's just gonna basically use that paragraph style. So again, links, select 1 through 6 here. Captions, caption setup, make sure it's using photo credit. We want photo by author, below image. I'll leave it at 0p1. Click OK, and then right click again and generate. Let's do live captions, see if there's a difference. Doesn't seem to be any difference really. Difference might be with live captions, maybe if I change the paragraph style. Nope, that makes no difference. Anyways, that puts it in there for us. I forgot to put a space, maybe a colon. Let me see how they have it in the end file. No, it's just a space. So if you don't put a space, it's gonna say photo by and then right there. So maybe go back and set up those captions again. Make sure I put a space here. Captions, generate live or static. I guess we won't know the difference, but they do the same here. Alright, so that's good. We've got, the same captions they have in the end file now. And I don't know what the point of doing this was with the gaps between the photos. I think it looks good like this. Everything's equal. But, part of the lesson, they go over how to use the gap tool, and they say you can use the gap tool for these. In this case, so if you use the gap tool, normally you click and drag, you can move the gap around like this. If you hold the Alt button, you move the whole thing like this. If you hold the Control button, you could move just that, the gap itself, make it wider. If you hold Shift, you could move just the gap that's on this side for this area. You don't, it doesn't move the top as well. So I guess what they did is, using the gap tool, they used the Control button plus the Shift button here. I think Shift, Control, or Shift and Alt. Okay, but you have to press it. You have to press Shift first and then Alt. So right now I have the Shift button pressed. I'm still pressing the Shift button, but I'm also gonna press the Control button now so I could make this gap bigger. And then Shift gap this one a little bit this way. Yeah, not sure what the point of that is, but that's how we do it. It didn't move the caption though. So not sure how we could include the caption as well as the photo. Because when you hold Shift, it just does this side. Or maybe they added the caption after they did this, that's why. But I can just move it separately. Anyways, that's the gap tool. So it's kind of weird to use. You don't really need to use the gap tool. You could always just select the photo and just do that. What else do we need to change? I'll give you a couple minutes to try out the captions. Alright, let's continue. Sorry, I forgot to pause that recording. So there's gonna be a pause in the recording there. Um, what else do we need? We need to put this evolve logo. I already have it up here, it looks like. Although it got moved. Thought I put it in the right position earlier. Move that back to where it needs to be. We also need to put it here upside down along with this address. So right below that. So to do that, we just grab this. You can hold the Alt button to make a copy, or you could use the content collector if you want. Although, let me see if there's anything different about it. No, you could use the content collector, but there's probably no point. Put that there. We're gonna rotate it upside down. And make it a bit smaller. So holding the control button and the shift button, drag it from there to resize it. Looks like it needs to be, yep, about the same size as this text above it. And then customer testimonials, we need to add that right here. I'm gonna go into preview mode or normal view so I could see my guidelines. And this needs to go from here to here. It's gonna say customer, enter test the how do you spell testimonials? Testimonials. Okay, and then we can scale that up. Actually, let's not scale it up. Leave it at what it is. I think there's a paragraph style for this. Just highlight the two paragraphs. Go to your paragraph styles. Which one was it? Oh, testimonials. That's the one. So there's a paragraph style called testimonials. It'll format it the way it's supposed to be formatted. One more thing, right below the photos, we need to split this into 3 columns. Right now it's just a single column. So just select it and you'll see the column icon right here in the control panel. Just click 1, 2, 3. You could also do this from object text frame options. And then for the columns, pick 3 that way. Now it's not enough that we do that, we also need to add some paragraph breaks. We don't want these, I forgot what they're called. Um, I don't know, when it's one line by itself, like that's called an orphan. I don't know what it's called when. I guess call it an orphan. Anyways, you don't want this to be like this. Amy O, senior designer, and then the paragraph about her all the way here. So what you do is just insert a paragraph break in front of this. So, or after this. So it's a special character again. Insert special character. Um, Actually, it's not a special character. It's a break character. So right click, insert break character, column break. Right, and then press delete to bring that up. We need another one right here in front of Jeff. So insert break character, column break. The shortcut is just press the number pad return or enter button. So just enter on the number pad. Wait, why did it make a copy? It's weird. Is that a, oh, okay, that was just a graphic glitch. It wasn't actually a copy. So John Q, Molly H, Amy, and then enter right there. Again, I'm pressing the enter on the number pad on the keyboard. So either do that or do it manually by right clicking and then insert break character, column break. So one more time, let me compare these two next to each other. We'll do Control Alt 0, Control Alt 0. I think everything is, oops, I accidentally opened Adobe Bridge somehow. Let me close that. Let's see. Yeah, everything on the first spread looks good. Second spread, I think all we're missing is this. Let's go back here. So this needs to be centered, like this one. And we need to change the Evolve logo to white. I don't know why it's stopping me from zooming in. So weird. Okay. So this needs to come to the middle, and the black text needs to change to white. Now if you click on this, you'll see that it's actually made up of some shapes in InDesign. So double clicking will get you into the actual group, but it's a group of objects at first. You see, if you click on it and drag it, they all move together. If you double click, you'll select just the individual pieces. You can also use the direct selection tool to click on individual pieces. And there's also a button here. It says select content. Click on that. It'll actually go inside the object, and then clicking select next object will like tab through the individual pieces basically. Could go before, after. You could step out, select the container, select object. Although I don't know, I rarely touch that though. I don't really use that. Normally I'll just double click on it to enter inside the object. So what we need to do is individually select these, change them to white. Or you could use this button to go to the next object and change it to white. Right, so that's all there is to that. And then you want it to be in the center of this. If you wanted, well, you could use the smart guides, that little green line that pops up. When I drag this, you see like this green line show up. Tells me that this is centered with this one. Make sure it's turned on. Go to View, um, Grids and Guides, Smart Guides. Make sure that's enabled. I think it should be by default. That lets you, again, center things. Then we want to take both of these and move them to the center of this. So just drag them until you see the Smart Guide again. Holding Shift when you drag it. I guess you don't have to, but it helps keep it in a straight line when you hold Shift. If you don't hold Shift, you could move up and down. Hold Shift, it only lets you go to the right. Okay, we also have these, so press W to go back to normal view. You'll see all these icons on the left. These need to be lined up or aligned. You can use the alignment buttons here in the control panel, or you can go to Window, Object, and Layout, Align. You could open the Align panel and then use these buttons to line them up. And just move them to the right. They should line up to where they need to go. InDesign, InDesign, Photoshop, Photoshop, Acrobat, and Illustrator. There's also a button to distribute them evenly. Although, let me check the end file. They didn't really use that there. So just drag it to the right the way I did, and you should be good. Alright, so that's all for this lesson, I believe. I don't think there's anything else that we missed. Yep, I think that's it. So, just to summarize this lesson, we went over how to update links, how to create linked copies of stuff, so you don't just make a normal copy, use the content collector. We looked at how to modify shapes, so you could also modify text boxes. We looked at how to align text, how to use special characters like the um, right indent special character and um, column breaks. Looked at how to split boxes into multiple rows and columns when we're bringing them in. Looked at how to add automatic captions, how to use text wrap. Anyways, any questions on that? Pretty clear. Alright, so yeah, like I said, no new assignment, but I will do a second example. Before I do, let me just maybe upload this one. Why is it locked? Okay. Yeah, so we got this here. That's funny. I saw someone using this background in a Zoom call. Same exact background. I guess everyone uses Pixels and Pixabay and Unsplash. Um, let's look at how we could enhance this. Maybe bring this. Let me go to my layers, make sure nothing's locked. I don't know why everything's pretty slow right now. Oh, it's because I did this on the master page. I forgot. So, again, if you missed the lesson yesterday, here's a quick review of what a master page does. Say we have like 5 pages. Well, you'll see in the example I do again, but here's what a master page does. You have your regular pages down here in the pages panel, and then there's a divider here. Above that is your master pages, or parent pages, I should say, maybe. Um, we have an A parent by default, which is by default applied to all of these. That's why there's an A letter on the top corners. And then whatever's on the A parent will be on the regular page that has the parent applied to it. Alright, so double click on the A parent to be sure that you're on it. Here you can tell I'm on the parent page because that's all I can see here. If I double click page 1, I can see all of these now. So on the A parent, if I put anything, just like a box here, fill it with pink, and then put another one over here, like this, and we go to our regular pages, you'll see that on our right side pages we have that, on the left side pages we have that. So it applies to whatever page you add it to, and you could change it. Say it goes like that now, and then this one, I don't know, make it bigger and blue. Look at the regular pages, updated. If you want to unlock them, you'll notice you won't be able to touch these you have to press Control and Shift to click on it to unlock it. Then you can move it around. But at that point, if you've unlocked something, like I've unlocked this one and this one, let's say I unlocked that too. If we go back to the parent page and modify this, the other one might not update. I guess it did in this case. It updated, but the position's still going to be wherever I moved it, so it's not the same location and shape. It's supposed to be like this. Let's make it more obvious. Let's do this and this. And go back. You see that this one, well, looks like the shape changed, but not the position. So anyways, if you unlock stuff, they're not going to behave predictably. So only unlock it if you're sure that needs to be different than the rest of it. See what happens if I delete it and do something here. I deleted it off the page. Now if we go back, you see it's still deleted. So, but if I add something new, like this circle, that will be still on the master page. Okay, just be careful when you're unlocking. So Control Shift to unlock something that's on the master page. You could also do, well, the rest of the examples we'll look at when I do another example of this, or while I'm modifying this one. So I want to modify this box here, even though you could barely tell, but it extends past the quote, goes under this photo. Maybe you like that, but maybe, I don't know, I decide I don't want it like that. I don't want it to extend all the way, just bring it to here maybe. Or if I'm using guidelines, drag it to this guideline. And then also for this one, don't want it to go all the way there, just maybe up to there. Or maybe just up to up here. And then also this background, maybe I'll fade it out a little bit. Actually, I don't want it to, I don't want to lower the opacity of it, because then the background is white, so it's gonna get lighter. It's not really what I want. So instead, I'll put a big black rectangle over it. Black. And I'll lower the transparency of that one. You could also play with blending modes and stuff. Even though this isn't Photoshop, you don't have as much advanced photo editing stuff. You do have blending modes. Um, you'd find them under the effects panel. So if you select an object under effects, you'll see that you could switch through the different blending modes just like in Photoshop and Illustrator. I'll do that on normal, and you could also change the opacity from there. And make sure this is, oops, make sure it's behind everything, not in front of anything. So I'm gonna press Control Shift left bracket, which is the same as object arrange send to back. And I'm gonna bring it forward so it's in front of this graphic. So bring forward, so it's in front of that, but it's still behind all the other stuff. You could also look at it in your layers panel. So you can see that this here, this is the rectangle, it's the second last thing here, and then this is the actual graphic behind it. Right, so that's my template, and then when I go to my regular pages, you can see I'm using that template on all my pages. I have a A parent and a B parent. Since the B parent is based on the A parent, whenever I modified that background, this one also changed. So I'm gonna have to change it twice. I do need to, looks like add a box behind this one though. Looks like it's missing because it's right there. Need to unlock this, bring it this way, and maybe use my guides here to fit it where it needs to be. Yeah, I'll let that extend to the edge. Oh, and this one. This needs to go behind this one. I also forgot to add page numbers. That was one of the requirements I said for this assignment. Add automatic page numbering. Right, so that means on the master page, on your left side, oh, I did put it actually. There it is. It's just you can't see it because it's black. Change that to white. So here it says A because I'm on A master, but remember this is that special character. Insert special character, marker, current page number. So I've got that aligned to the left side. I've also got it on this side, but this time I aligned it to the right. Should also be on the B parent since the B parent is based on the A parent. I feel like I should add a little bit more margin on the bottom just so I can have some space for the page number. I don't want it to be too close to the bottom of the page. Like I don't want to drag it down this way, but I also don't want it to be touching this here. So maybe just for that, when you're setting up your margins, you might want to put some more margin on the bottom than the rest. Say instead of 27, make that 37. Right, but now I have to change stuff. Like, oops, I changed that on the B parent. Let me do that on the A parent, so I don't have to do it twice. So on the A parent, go to margins and columns. Bring that bottom up a little bit. And then probably have to redo the columns though. I know it's a little bit repetitive. No, I should have done this in the beginning, but now I have to do create columns again. And I forgot how many. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 by, what was it, 8, I think. So 6 columns by 8 columns. I mean 6 rows by 8 columns. Remove existing ruler guides. Actually, might have been 6 by 8. I have that backwards. Uh, so I'm redoing it because I modified the bottom margin, so that kind of shifts the whole grid a little bit. So just need to readjust stuff a little bit, just fit that grid. And the grid is just a guide, you don't have to fit exactly to it, but I'm just being nitpicky here and I want it to fit exactly on the grid. Yeah, the problem is we don't have like a bottom gutter That's why it's like so close to the page number. Anyways, that's why we're increasing that bottom gap. Um, so another reason why it's good to have a master page, because if I change this here on the master page, I shouldn't have to change it on all of the other pages that have the master applied, unless they got unlocked, then maybe I might have to. And just tiny adjustments. Okay, I think that's good. Everything's fitting to these guides. Also, I don't know, maybe I should make that a little bit shorter. I was thinking whatever, it's cool, make it kind of offset, but when you do stuff like that, like asymmetric, um, either make it exact or make it obvious that you're trying to make it different. When it's like this, it's like, I don't know, it's like I couldn't make it the same size. It looks like an accident, but make it really big compared to this one, then it's like, okay, you did it on purpose. So you meant to do that. So I'll make it either exact or way bigger. Probably drag this all the way down here since we have all that empty space. Why not? Let's see, do we have to adjust anything here? No. Looks like it's already adjusted since this was based on actually the ones that the ones that I unlocked, like this one, does need to be adjusted. I also unlocked this box and this text box, so that's also gonna have to be adjusted. But nothing else. Just the stuff that was unlocked. What's this extra guideline? I think this one needs to be deleted. I might have accidentally unlocked the guideline too, and I was Alt Control Shift clicking. Alright, now it looks good. Okay, now back to the regular pages. Looks okay. This is the sign out code. Let's get rid of that. But we got our page numbers. Everything else looks good. Let's drop in a couple more images here and then I'll upload this example. Let's go to Unsplash. GPU. Copy image. Paste into. Click fit frame proportionally. Get some more pictures. fitting fill frame proportionally. Why does this have a watermark on it? Oh, is it Unsplash Plus? Okay. Well, all right. Last picture. Let's take this one. Fitting fill frame proportional. Okay, so there I got all my pictures filled in. Got some text here. I'm using placeholder text everywhere. I recommend at least like a few of the quotes. I mean, it's gonna be kind of be a boring project if it's all just placeholder text. Pick a topic that you're really interested in, and then try to put some real information here. I'm just doing this to save time. Right, so I'll save this. Actually, before I save it, let's put like a real quote at least, and we have a title at least. Cool, that's fine. I don't like how this N, see how it's not lined up with that R? Let me show you a trick to fix that. You gotta press, um, well, first we have to add a space. Then we could press the Alt button, and then with the Alt button, press the left arrow key, and you can, left and right arrow key, you can adjust that kerning. So what I'm adjusting here, if you want to actually see where it's changing, it's, well, you can see this is changing up here, kerning 180, 190, 150. So you could press the Alt button and adjust that. But you first have to add a space. If you don't add a space, there's no space in front of it, doesn't work. So if I press backspace, so there's nothing before the N, pressing Alt and left and right arrow doesn't do anything. So you have to press spacebar first, and then you can do it. Okay. If it's bothering you and you really want to line up the text like that, you can do that. Also switching um, from auto or from metrics to optical, sometimes that also switches around how the letters are spaced. I like optical usually, but it's not really changing like the first letter though. But if you do that, you're gonna have to readjust this. Anyways, it's not worth it for this one. It's pretty close. Okay. File, save, file, export. Remember, same thing we did with the previous assignment. When you export it, you want to make sure you choose export as spreads. So Adobe PDF for print. All this stuff, don't worry about unless you're actually printing it. Um, but usually, any of these will work. Depends on the printer, but most of the time they're not really that picky about this. But I wouldn't choose like smallest file size. I mean, you can see, that's going to give you a smaller file size. That's going to give you higher quality. But these are just presets anyways. Just changes the different settings here. Most of the time, the only thing you worry about here is again whether you're exporting as spreads or pages. If it's gonna be like a digital PDF, the range, which pages do you want? Would you say all? Um, and then if you need to print it, you could add all the printer marks if you need to, the bleeds and everything. Yeah, I wouldn't really mess with any of the other settings. Okay, anyways, so for this, just make sure you choose spreads and click export. It says overset text on these pages, A parent, B parent. Alright, let me click cancel. Let's take care of the overset text. That's why you should check your pre-flight. Remember, pre-flight panel, that red dot down there tells me I have some problems. I have missing links. Let's take care of those first. It says tech. This this image back there is missing, and the wired logo is missing. It's because I had it on my desktop and I deleted it yesterday, I think. Let's restore them if I did. There's that one. The restore. That one's no longer missing. The wired logo .svg. I guess I deleted that one, but looks like it's not in my recycle bin. I have to go find it again. Anyways, I'll ignore that one, but as you can see, it's kind of pixelated. Even if I do high quality, it's still gonna be pixelated, so that's kind of a problem. Let me see if I do have it though. Nope, I guess I deleted it, but I got it from Wikipedia, so um, Wikipedia wired logo. That's the one we want. Download original file, SVG. Just put that on the desktop. Actually, I'll leave it in the downloads. And go to our links. So, missing, double click to relink. And go back to our downloads, find the wired logo, open. Now it's no longer missing, but it is back to the original black color it was. Yesterday I showed you how to change the color. I had to open it in Adobe Illustrator to change it from black to white. If you don't have Adobe Illustrator, it's an SVG, so you could open it with Notepad and modify the colors. So if I open it with Notepad, um, oh, I guess since the color is by default black, it doesn't actually say anything here. Let's see. Yeah, no easy way to change it now because there's no there's no place that says to change it to purple or red or whatever. So it's black by default, so there's nothing specified in here. So you can't really do it that easily. There's no like class either, so um, that one's a little bit more complicated. I'll just open it with Illustrator. You could, from here, you could say uh, edit original, edit with. Let's do edit with Illustrator. Actually, what happens if I click edit with Adobe InDesign? Cannot open. Adobe InDesign does not support the file format. Okay, never mind. You can't. But I can open it with Adobe Illustrator. And there might be a way to, if it's a simple correction, like making it the opposite color. So right now it's all black, just change it to white and save it. Now it updated. Also, once you do that, then like when you do this with the notepad, then you'll see like an actual color somewhere. So it looks different than it was before. If we look here, it has fill, FFF for white. Now like you could change the color easily. So now it's red, right? But open it with notepad again, change it back to white. Double click to update. Um, Let me check online if there's a way to invert the colors in design. Invert color. Um, Invert colors on photo, let's say. Might be a way to do it. You can do inversion for pictures of any format. I think there's no native way to do it, maybe. Yeah, it's. I would imagine some sort of effect blending mode would be a way to do it, like difference. Actually, that's probably the way I should have done it. Let me paste it again. Oops. Let's download it again. Bring in. I'm gonna switch this back to normal, so effects make that normal again. Um, get the new one. So if you want this to be white instead of black, effects, change the blending mode to difference. It didn't work when it's black. Color dodge, sort of, not really. Also screen mode. But yeah, just guess not like that. Okay, there might not be a way to do it. Yeah, okay, you can't do it. You have to manually go in the Illustrator and actually change the color like I did. Or Photoshop or whatever. Unless there's a way to create the shapes out of it. Let's see. If we go object, um, extract from image shapes. What does that do? Okay, that brings up this. This might not even be something that's available in CS6. You can try to extract the assets. Let me skip this tour, see if we can figure this out. So, invert. And then how do we save it? Save to CC libraries. If I just close it, it's just gonna close it. But what's this? So your CC libraries. Remember, this is this panel that you see like a bunch of other things I've created in Adobe Illustrator. So there might be a way to do it this way. Let's bring back the black one. And I'm just trying to figure out how to reverse colors on something in InDesign without having to use Illustrator or something else. So say we have this. Want it to be white instead of black. Without using Illustrator, we could go object, and where was it? Extract from image shapes. That brings up this extract from image box. We can invert it like this and then save to CC libraries. Close this, and now where is it? I forgot to check the name of it. One more time. Object, extract from image, shapes. It didn't really give me an option to name it though. It says saved. Capture shape 2. I guess it's that. Capture shape 1 and 2. It's not really giving me anything though. Yeah, it looks pretty empty. I'm not sure what the point of that was. Anyway, since that was useless, I'll delete it. Delete and delete. Try one more time. See if there's any other settings I could change. Seems like it would, like, the whole point of this is to grab these shapes somehow. Anyways, the if I don't invert the colors, it does actually save the shape. Maybe then I can invert it. No, but if I invert it and then save it, it just gives me this blank box. Doesn't work. I don't know. Might have to look into it. Let me just bring back my other one. Just delete that and delete that. Go back to my links. Where is this one? It's on the pasteboard here. Bring it back. Alright, let's save this. Save, export. Oh, I forgot about the overset text. So back to pre-flight. So double click the pre-flight down there. Bring up the pre-flight panel. Where is my pre-flight panel? Oh, there it is. Okay, so overset text here. Double click to go to it. Tells you what page it's on the A master, B master. So um, yeah, it's because I have extra text here. Let me just delete that text. I don't really need it. It's gibberish text anyway, so let's just do that. Then we have some more here. I have a lot more here. Delete all of that. I don't know how long that goes. Okay, there it is. And one more here. Alright, so once you take care of those, your pre-flight should show no errors. It should be green instead of red. Then save it one more time and export PDF print. Make sure it spreads. Export. And it should save here somewhere. There we go. Okay, I'll upload this as an example. Oh, that's a pretty big file size, 41.9 megabytes. Maybe it's because of those images I added. Actually, let me cancel that. There are gonna be linked images in there. I don't know why the file size is so big. I guess they're not well, this one is linked, but I can embed this and embed this one. I'm just gonna embed the links so when you download it, it's not gonna give you the missing links warning. But also, I'm wondering why the file size is so big, 41 megabytes. Could be because I copy pasted these pretty large images from uh, Pixabay and Unsplash, but still, I didn't think they're that big. They are like HD images. I just made them really small. I wasn't really paying attention to how big the image was, but normally, I don't know, try to use optimized size images. Um, yeah, okay, there, I can't really do much about that. I'll save that, close it, and again, upload this. I'll upload the PDF first, that should be smaller. That's only 2.9 megabytes. Save that, and then I'll upload the actual InDesign file. Alright, I know some of you have fast internet, 42 megabytes would be nothing, but I'm really far from my Wi-Fi router. And I have about 10 more minutes to try to do another example. Maybe I'll use that 10 minutes to just look at existing. We'll browse through Behance, see if we can find cool examples. So, we're picking an article. It doesn't have to be on one subject. It could be like a newsletter where you have little sections on different subjects. That would be fine too. But let's check out Behance for some inspiration. So, newsletter. So it could be a newsletter or a news article. Newsletters usually have like just updates on some company, what's new. Here's a really fancy looking one for some products. Oh no, this is more like a website that you click. Actually, it might be a newsletter with links on it. I don't think it's a website design. It's something you might get in the email, click the button, and then takes you to the website to look at those things. What's this one? Yeah, these look like stuff you'd get in an email, not really a newsletter. Although you do get emails in a newsletter, so. By the way, you can have interactive newsletters. I mean, you could have interactive PDFs. I'm keeping it simple, making these PDF for prints for now, but we'll look at interactive PDFs, maybe in InDesign too. But this one looks cool, but it looks more like a mobile-friendly design. Everything's pretty much single column. Again, something that they might send out as an email, um, assuming you're gonna be looking at it on your phone. So that's why they have everything just a single column. Try to look for a more traditional newsletter, maybe something like this one. There you go. This is more like newsletter you might see in a magazine. So this is probably a better example of what you might see here. We got like a whole magazine with crossword and everything. But yeah, so you got images and text. Um, split up here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns with images on top of it, and it's broken up so it keeps it more interesting. It's a good example. What's this one? Fashion trend newsletter. This kind of looks pretty amateur. Not, I mean, not terrible. This is something I might expect you guys to do. Um, just an idea, simple idea right there. Alright, here's a really good example. Nothing too crazy, very doable in InDesign. I'm actually gonna copy this link and save it because this one's a good one. Save that. I'll put that in the, again, it's in the assignment link, so click on it. This is a really good example. So you can see, like, just using some simple shapes to add some color, break up the color of the text, and have different sorts of dividers. This is a really simple but good, clean looking example. Alright, but what do we have? Got like 4 or 5 minutes. So just again, real quick, like let me go over all the steps that you might want to take doing this. You're gonna do regular print size letter. Um, we want facing pages, so make sure facing pages is checked. You could change this to inches if you want instead of picas or pixels, whichever you prefer. I'm gonna go with inches. Say we got margins, top, bottom, left, and right, half an inch. Remember the bottom, you're gonna put page numbers, so maybe put a little bit more on the bottom than everywhere else. So maybe bottom will be 0.625. Everywhere else, I'll put like 0.375 inches. We don't need a bleed and a slug unless you're printing it, then why not? If you feel like it, add a 0.125 inch bleed. I forgot what the rules was for 8.5 by 11. I think 0.125 inches is good. If not, I think it's 0.25. You could look that up, what printers usually prefer for your bleeds. But again, that only applies if you're printing it, so I'll just leave it. Why not? You can always turn off the bleeds. That's the bleed right there. I can always say view, grids and guides. Was it under extras? I forget. Anyways, doesn't bother me, so it's there. We add a couple more pages, 5 total. On our parent page, we set up what we want our basic structure of the page to look like, right? So we want some guidelines first of all. So layout, create guides, and make sure your guides have a gutter because that gutter will help you separate your text from the images so they're not like right up against each other. But I went with, last time I did 8 by 6 just to have more flexibility, just more boxes, so more sizing options that way. You could do even more if you want or less, I'll go with 8 by 6. Um, Click OK. Make sure this is fit guides to margin, not page. To margin, that way the guidelines start inside the, I mean the, what do you call it? Um, the grid lines start inside the guidelines instead of from the edge of the page. That's where you want it since that's where the content's going to be. So that's why we're putting it to margins. Click OK. Start putting placeholders for where you think you might have images before you even get the images. Maybe you want an image that's like here in this top left corner. You don't have to, but fill it with a color if that helps you see it better. Maybe I'll do like a gray color for that. Do black. I'll just do black since I'm trying to save time here. Have an image there. Put an image here. Maybe this image stretches this way. Maybe I'll have like a small thing here. Why not? And then on the other side, have it a little bit different. Try to use those guides that you created to help you lay it out nicely. And this helps it look nicer. When you do have guidelines, it just does look nicer at the end, so it's not just for no reason. Make your text boxes. You could fill it with some placeholder text for now. And then decide how you want to lay it out. You know, it doesn't have to all be symmetrical and stuff. Play around with how you want to lay things out. Maybe even break this up. Maybe you don't want that much text there. You could bring some of the rest of the text here. Add some other graphical elements like just some random blue bar or whatever to divide things. Right, and then just let's say you're done. Obviously, I don't have time to do a complete example, but just a quick one here. Let's say you're happy with that. That's your template. That's your parent page. By default, it will apply to all your pages. If you don't want it to apply to one of the pages, like for example, the first page, you don't want A to apply to it, just where it says none, drag that there. You could also create an alternate parent page with a different layout. Um, Again, you say new parent based on a parent, let's say. This will be parent B. Click OK. Parent B is now based on a parent, so it looks exactly the same. You'll have to unlock things to move it around. If you want to shift things, you have to press Control Shift to unlock. Since these were created on a master, they must be unlocked if you want to move them around. And then you could apply that B master to other pages that you want an alternate layout on. And on the actual pages, page 1, put like a cover. It doesn't have to be a complete cover page. Could be another page like this. But say page 2, you actually want to add your content. Remember, this was made on the master page, so you can't touch it. You have to press Control Shift and then click on it to unlock it. Then you can place your images inside your placeholders. So Control Shift to unlock them. And then you can press Control Shift to unlock the text layers to add your actual text. But yeah, just use the example I saved, or um, use my example, or use the one I found on Behance. It's a pretty good example. just for some inspiration, to get some ideas how things should be laid out. Okay, and that's it. So tomorrow, I think there's no class. Let me double check the schedule since it's a weird schedule. Yeah, so tomorrow is the 19th. Looks like no class tomorrow. 20th will be lab day. So we do have class, even though no class tomorrow, there is still class on Friday. Um, Double check that though. I don't know. That looks weird. I don't. Is tomorrow a holiday? Why don't we have class tomorrow? But it looks like we don't. So I'm just gonna assume we don't until further notice. But we'll be back 20th, which is Friday, for lab day, and then back on Monday. So again, looks like no class tomorrow. Not sure what holiday it is, but let me give you the sign out and stop recording.